Welcome back. This is Arise News Channel. You're watching the morning show with me, Biola Labi. A startup may require several rounds of financing before it can generate sufficient cash flow from sales to finance operations. The amounts and sources for each round of funding varies by company and industry. Joining me to discuss now how they have raised money are my guests, Saudat, Salami, and Temie Giwa-Tubosun. Ladies, welcome back.
Hi.
So both of you are in the process of raising money. You've raised part of your round. You are going to raise up to $1 million, hopefully by the end of this year. Tell me, what was the beginning of that process where you said, okay, now I have to go out and raise money? And how did you decide where and how to raise that money? I'm going to start with you, Temie.
Right. I think that when we started Life Bank, we started it as almost like a research project. Is there a business model here? Is it going to work? Are there people who want our services? And when that research projects, basically, when we proved the point that, yes, it is a strong business model, there are hospitals who are interested in the business, and there's a big market that we could scale to, we decided to go raise money, to go raise funding, and to raise venture capital funding. We are sort of trying to figure out, should it be family and friends, or should it be venture capital? The amount of funds we wanted and the amount of scale we were trying to achieve with this particular funding round required that we went the venture capital route. And that's what we did.
That's what you did. So that's how, I mean, you've been doing this, you were doing this now, you've been on and off doing this for 13 years. I think like since your last straightforward, you haven't stopped. You've had training, education. You decided at this point that it was time to go and raise money, and you went VC route. Why now? I mean, you've been doing this on your own for so long.
Well, I've been looking for VCs for so long, for very long. So it wasn't just now.
Okay.
So
they just
found me now. I've been looking for them for a while. But it was, because I started, when I started, I went straight to the entrepreneurial courses. So I knew definitely that at some point I was going to need VCs, because I was following companies online that were doing exactly what I was doing, and I knew that I could not do that with my funding. I knew the kind of, I was dreaming big from day one, because I was looking at companies like Ocado in the UK and companies like Fresh Direct in the US. So I knew that I needed that side. And they have cities that are similar to Lagos. So if I knew that if I wanted to be serious here, at some point I was going to have to raise VC funding. I knew from when I made up my mind to do this full time. So my records in the office, well, I went to entrepreneurial development school, so I was already keeping my accounts, I was doing things properly, so that at some point when I would need that, I'll be able to give them my paper. This is what I have done so far, and so I was already doing my business like that, but I was looking for them, and luckily I didn't find them.
Because you feel like you found them at the right time?
I found them at the right time. The market was ready, I was ready. Because I was also just raising my kids. Like, I just got married. I had young kids. I was taking my kids everywhere. So, I mean, they were with me in the market, they were with me when I was delivering, they were with me in business meetings, they were with me. So I was the project to see how this thing would work. So by about 2-3 years ago, I was very, very serious about it, because some competition
sprung up,
and when they came initially, nobody looked at online grocery, because online grocery is difficult. It's really difficult. So they didn't want to look at that. They were looking at computers and, fashion and stuff like that. So about 2-3 years ago, I noticed that they started looking at my category. And I just said, wow, okay, I think you've had your field day. Do this seriously. So I started going to, I started going to meetings that talked about that. Fundraising meetings and, those kind of things. Yeah. I just wanted to know the term, because these things are terms and buzzwords. What is in the term sheet? What am I going to lose? What part of my business am I going to lose? And, but I already have the mindset of equity from day one. So I knew at some point, I have a collaborative mindset anyway, so I don't have a problem sharing, but you have to tell me what you're giving me. So for me, it wasn't just about money. I need people that will understand what I'm trying to do and also bring more than money to me, because this is not just money. There's so much involved in it. Yeah.
So actually, two things I wanted to say. One of the things that you've both said and you're both providing is really around organization and solution and really trying to solve entrenched problems in Nigeria. So really sort of almost like, how do you get something from place, very logistics. I mean, really both of you, you're getting things from one place to the other.
Yeah.
When you guys started having your conversations with investors, I mean, you both were always, from just based on how much you raised and everything, I'm sure you started trying to think about how much to raise this round, because you're really trying to raise $1 million literally very quickly. With this first round that you've both raised, did you guys hit your target when it came to number, or were you looking at something slightly higher?
So I actually raised less than was available on purpose, because there's a sense that if you have too much money, something would come and you would use it. And if you were raising a lot of money at this early stage, you're going to lose more of your company at this early stage.
Sure.
So I was very focused on making sure that I wasn't raising too much, because I know it sounds really weird, but that you could actually raise too much money. So we raised a small amount on purpose, so that we can drive value and make sure that the company is big enough to absorb more money.
More money later. Yeah. And you, when you were sort of thinking about the size of the raise, because I think that's also something people have to think about at home. What is the size of the raise? How much are you trying to raise? Were you trying to raise more than you ended up raising, or less than you ended up raising more?
My challenge has always been, what is the next step? How big should your next step be? I ask people that question all the time. What should I do? What's the next step? And they tell you, you need to dream big. You need to you need to dream. You can't be looking for small money. Look for big money. I'm like, oh my God. The market is there. You know, they come up with all this form of statistics. Do you know how many people in Lagos? Do you know how many people eat a day? I mean, how can you be looking small? And that happens to me when I'm writing my pitch. And I'm pitching, and they tell me, you're not ambitious. How can you be looking for $1 million when there's $5 million to take? Then you go there, you go to another place. How can you be looking for $1 million? You should be looking for $100,000. So you're here, you are not ambitious. You're here, you're too ambitious. And you're praying, God, give me the whole of Lagos, give me the... I'm like, what am I going to do? Lord, that took me years. It took me years. Then 2 years ago, last year, I just said, okay, what we're doing now, if we multiply it by 3, that would push us, yeah? So we did that. And when we spoke to our VC, he said, is this what you need now to take you to that next level so that we can scale? Because we cannot be here with you on this small I said, yes, give me this to scale, to at least to build a bigger team, to put some major things in place. And it was nice. I was like, my God, why did it take me so long to realize what the next step is? There's a lot of noise out there. And all this dream big, you're not ambitious, it confuses people a lot. It really does.
So as women going into raising money, going into VCs, what were some of the challenges that you guys feel are unique to you as women? Or just unique to, I mean, just if it's just for all entrepreneurs, like this happens to every entrepreneur, that's fine. But as women going into these rooms, really doing your pitch, really trying to help understand the term sheets, what were some of the things that you felt were unique to you being a woman?
I think that this is unique, not just African women or Nigerian women. I think it's unique to women all over the world. I think we go to things, we reach out for things when we feel we are more than ready, more than 100% ready. And you've crossed your T's, dot your I, you know that you're ready for this. You've trained, you've gone through training so long. But yeah, like that's not how this thing work. You should throw yourself out there even before you're ready, even before you feel like you're ready. I think there are lots, my insight is that there are lots and lots of fundable women-led organization, women-led company in Nigeria. I think a lot of the sectors where we sort of, focus on are not sectors that VCs are looking into, but we should go talk to them. There's lots and lots of women-led businesses that are strong. The fundamentals are strong. They are ready to absorb venture capital, but they're not thinking of themselves in that way. They think of themselves as, I'm just running my small business, but you really can't scale this business. I think women start the most businesses in the world, but of the sort of formalized businesses, only 16% of all companies 4 more companies in the world are owned by women, 16%.
Wow.
But if you know how many women are actually starting small businesses on the side,
just every day.
It's amazing, the size. But I think, and what now happens is that we don't scale because you need venture capital, you need capital, significant amount of capital to scale your business, but we always remain small. So we start small and we remain small, where we need capital to grow and to scale.
And Saudat, what do you think as a woman that has gone out there, you've done the VC rounds, you've been successful now, you've raised money, you're going to go back out there. What advice do you have for women that are sort of looking at their business today saying, oh, we're not ready?
Women are ready, and I think we're overqualified.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you
I like
why.
that. Say that. I want you to say that again.
We're overqualified. I'll tell you why. Do you know how many entrepreneurial programs I've done? Do you know how many
I've seen a lot. I saw a lot on your CV.
Yeah.
You know, that was the first thing I said to you. I was like, you've really gotten into a lot of programs, so you're very qualified.
We're overqualified, and I tell you why. Because there's so many programs out there for women empowerment. This is the best time to be a woman in business. But you see, they just want to keep training us. That's all they want to do. And you see, we're competing with men that are not as trained as we are. Yes, and that's the truth. They will just allow you, oh, the man is allowed to risk it all. Risk $3 million, risk $5 million. Oh, he's learning. Oh, if you fail 10, that means you're doing something right. But a woman is not allowed to waste $100,000. We're overqualified. We're doing one training or the other. One government is sponsoring one thing. One NGO has come to sponsor one free thing here. We're just in the classroom. And that makes women think as if, because they keep training us, it means we're not ready as the men. That is what happens. The men are allowed to take big risk in business.
So get out of get out of the classroom, ladies.
Yes. Get out of the classroom and collaboration is key. Partnership is key. You cannot scale any business on your own. Forget it. You cannot. We see Bill Gates every day. He's not the only one there. He's not the only one there. Steve Jobs was not the only one there. All of them, but you only see one face. There's a whole team behind. There are people that have shared the slice of the cake. So come out there and
share.
Dream big. We always talk about this when we're in the class, but when we leave the class, everything just stays in the class. We have to go out there and build big businesses, because the way we run businesses, women, is different from the way men do. We are nurturers, and we bring that into our business. And most of businesses that women do are solution-oriented. So it's not just about making money, it's about problem solving in the society. And we have to think about that. If we think about that we're going to create jobs, we're going to impact the society, and we're also going to make money. There's nothing wrong in actually being a rich woman.
Yes.
Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with that. I support that. So we want more rich women out there. As we're winding down, I wanted you guys to just share with me each, what were like two of the most confusing things about this process, and two of the things that came easier than you thought it would come? Who wants to go first?
I think that the most confusing part of the process are the terms. Right? The terms are actually easy to understand, but the way it is structured. So, for example, you're vesting your shares. That sounds like something complicated, something that is like, wow, what is that? But when you actually figure out what it is, it's very simple.
Yes,
you get the ownership of your company, you get it in chunks. That's it, you know. But the term that they use to sort of say it scares women. They're like, I'm not well qualified. And I think the thing that came easy is my confidence in what I'm building. Right? I knew what I was building. I knew how important it was. I knew that we were going to grow and scale. That the money is there. I knew the money.
She was like, I've seen the money.
I've seen the money. I can see it entering my account. So I knew, and I had that confidence. And I think that's what women need. And I think we need to have conversations on what is required to actually get venture capital. You don't have to be like a huge company. You just have to have a strong business model. You have to be you have to be solving a problem in a significant market. And I think that's the only thing you need to actually approach venture capitalists. And I think it's
And then Saudat, what about you?
For me, when I got my terms, I gave a lot of people to read, lawyers to read, because I've read so much about these terms. There's one thing hiding somewhere. if you don't, it means one thing, and later on when you default, it means another thing. So I had to read it over and over again. And later on when I found out, I chose my VCs because they had a human face. And later on, I found out the reason why the terms were, because it's because of so many defaults. And since I know who I am, I know that I'm not in here to take their money. I'm here because I want to build a business. So my intention is what I used to understand what the terms were, especially when I knew the reasons why the terms were written. So it wasn't for them to wake up and steal my business. Because at the end of the day, if I don't make money, they don't make money.
Wow. So ladies, thank you so much for being here. We are wrapping up, but I mean, just so that people at home both know, both of you are recipients of VCs from EcoVC. EcoVC is a VC company that has invested in both of your businesses, and that is public knowledge. So for people that are looking, they are one of the resources that you can go to. But thank you both for being on. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. I hope more people go out, more women go out and raise money like you ladies. And I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
This brings us to the end of the morning show today. I'm Biola Labi. Once again, thank you to my guests, and thank you to you for watching.